Hi everyone, this is one such topic on which I can end up speaking endlessly because I've researched so much on how to speak English fluently that if someone comes and says that I can write English, I can even understand English, but I can't speak English fluently, I can tell you exactly where you're making the mistakes and also some practical ways to actually correct the situation. But before doing that, two quick points. First of all, I don't believe in language shaming. If you're comfortable in your native language, that's excellent. In case you want to learn the English language for a purpose, for example, studying abroad or maybe doing an MBA or getting a job, you're most welcome to learn these tricks. Second, I would love to share that we have a sponsor for this video. Thank you, Cambly, for sponsoring this video. Cambly is actually India's only app that allows you to connect one-on-one with English tutors and have classes. And these tutors are excellent. We're going to talk about it further in this video. But before sharing those practical tips and some exercises, let me tell you what goes in your mind when you start speaking in the English language and where is it that you make those mistakes. First of all, let me tell you that your brain has a lot of information in there and it doesn't exist in any language. Like I would say, if there's a lot of garbage in your head, it doesn't exist in any certain language. It's just garbage, right? But if you now have to break that, not garbage, but that data into smaller chunks, that chunks will be in certain language. To give you an example, I'm going to speak about a topic. It's already there in your head, but it's not sitting in any certain language. But when I ask you to think of it, you'll be thinking in a certain language. So think of an apple. Now you might have either thought of the apple brand or you might have thought of the apple fruit. But in either case, you must have associated some adjectives, some words with it in a certain language. For example, in my head, when I think of apple, I get the color red. Red in English. But for someone, apple might actually associate with lal, the word lal, which means red in Hindi. Now, this information, the breaking of the bigger chunks into smaller chunks happens in a certain language. And that is the question. Which language are you using to break those smaller chunks? First of all, you break information into smaller chunks. Then you think of some words associated with it. And finally, you make it into a sentence using grammar. So there are three quick bits here. First is breaking off that information. Now, a lot of people will not realize, but they actually think in the Hindi language or any other native language, which is why it takes them a lot of time to actually speak in the English language. So you might have seen a lot of times that you're actually translating words. Every time you think of speaking in English, you have to translate it from your native language to the English language and then you articulate it. And this delay in translation from your native language to the English language is where disfluency actually occurs. So what is the step to actually correct this situation? For this, I have two simple exercises for you. And if you carry out these exercises every single day for just 10 minutes, you'll be able to get better at English. First of all, you should try thinking of a certain topic in a day for 10 minutes just in the English language. For example, if I say today's sunset, right? You have to think about it consciously for 10 minutes in the English language. Yes, there'll be a lot of times when you'll be actually compelled to speak. You'll be like, okay, I'll have to speak something. You don't have to speak something. You just have to think about the sunset in the English language. It will be pretty hard in the first few days, but slowly and steadily you'll develop the ability to transition from thinking in your native language to the English language very quickly. And that transition, the faster it is, the better your fluency is going to be. The second exercise is very simple. It doesn't even take time. You just have to switch on English subtitles. When you watch YouTube videos, like you can switch on subtitles of this video as well. You can switch on subtitles. You can watch Netflix, Amazon Prime, whatever you watch. Because the more you look at those words, it's going to help you think in the English language alongside while you're watching the content. So that's the second bit. Now, a lot of people ask that how much time does it take to get better at speaking in English? Well, the research says that it takes 2 to 3 months, but even 1 month is doable if you actually practice a lot. And that's what the quote also says today. Practice makes perfect. The more you practice speaking in English, the better you'll get. And that's where a lot of people have this concern that, the people around me either laugh when I speak in English or I don't really have anyone to practice. When I was younger, I also didn't have, like everyone in my family either speaks in Hindi or mostly in Punjabi. So I couldn't speak in English with them. But that's where Cambly comes into picture. Cambly is actually an app that allows you to connect with tutors one-on-one, and these tutors are highly qualified. Like, you get 15 minutes or 30 minutes with a tutor. These tutors are from US, UK, Canada, and super friendly. Like, I'll show you a demo as well, and they'll help you understand where exactly are you making these mistakes, and when you practice with them, you get better at speaking in English. They have a variety of courses as well. For example, if you want to get into a certain job, or maybe you are preparing for the IELTS exam, these are specific courses that they've designed so that you can select the tutors accordingly and get help from them. I'll show you a demo now.
It's really, as far as what we do, is for the most part, it's up to the student.
And that's amazing. Yeah. I also saw you're from Canada, right?
Yeah, so Saskatchewan is the province. So Calgary's in Alberta. And the Pacific Ocean's over
Yeah.
here. And Saskatchewan is over here.
Everybody knows everybody in there. But at the same time, he does sometimes feel like it's a very small town. So if you like Cambly, you can check out the link in the description and use 22SA, which is my code. You'll get 22% discount using that. I hope that by now you have totally understood the process that goes in your mind. And we have also talked about what to do of breaking those smaller chunks and thinking in the English language. The next step is vocabulary building. And I understand a lot of people dread it. I almost hated it during my CAT preparation. I don't like reading words from a dictionary or even using an extra book to actually get those words in my vocabulary. But I can give you an excellent exercise. It helps a lot. It's called a cheat sheet. Now, a cheat sheet is basis the requirement. For example, if you need English speaking when you are appearing for some interview, then in that interview setting, there are a certain group of words that are relevant there. There are a certain phrases that are going to be relevant there. To give you an example, I'm sorry, sir, but I'm not aware of it. I'm sorry, sir, but I'm not able to recall it. May I come in, sir? Hi, sir. Should I send the next person in? These are a couple of terms that you might be using in the beginning, in the end, during the interview. Similarly, you can find a lot of other words and phrases. They are readily available online. The point that I want to raise here is you don't need vocabulary for every single thing out in the world. There are so many words. Why do you need to know every single word? But it's important for you to know the words that are gonna be relevant in a certain situation. And when you know those words, when they are sitting in your vocabulary and they are ready to use the moment you want, they will come to your mind very quickly. So that's where a cheat sheet really helps. The third mistake that people make is grammar. Now, grammar is actually a building block which you get to know in school, but I'll give you a classic story and you'll be able to understand that you don't really need grammar. How many of you actually started speaking in your native language after you went to school? You would not have. You would have started speaking in your native language way before you went to school. How was that possible? Like, you studied the grammar rules in your school, right? But then how were you speaking it beforehand? Because you observed others. And that's the key here. A lot of people fret about not having good English and saying that, my grammar is not good enough, which is why I hesitated. My mom is actually one of those people. She hesitated speaking in English a lot because of the sentence formation. She always felt like that, she didn't know where to use is, am, are. Even I make those mistakes. Everyone makes those mistakes, and that's perfectly fine. The beauty of language is to understand where you are coming from. And if I understand your ideas, the way you are communicating them, that's perfectly okay. You don't have to be a master in the English language, right? But at the same time, if you want to develop your grammar, like I said, you don't really need the grammar rules. You need observational skills. If you look at other people speaking in English, you'll catch it up. Just like you catch up your native language. You caught it up before even you realized, before even you went to the school, right? How did you do it? You observed your parents speaking your native language, and that's what you picked up. So the same rule applies here. For this, you need to have a role model. Anyone that you can regularly watch who speaks in the English language very fluently. Hint, hint. But it can be a YouTuber, it can be a cricket commentator, it can actually be a host of a particular event in English. It can also be an actor or maybe a news anchor, anybody who speaks fluently in English. Just choose a role model and observe how they speak. You will not only get to know grammar this way, you will also get to know where they lay the pauses, and for that I also have a very good exercise, but where exactly they're laying the pauses and how are they using voice modulation while they're speaking. So now I'm going to discuss two techniques that I actually also included in my course, but there are two techniques that I readily use. They work wonders. The first technique is called 4, 3 and 2. So 4, 3, 2 basically means that if there is a passage in front of you, you have to summarize it in 4 minutes. You have to take 3 to 4 minutes, like in between that range, to summarize that paragraph. Then you have to reread the passage and now summarize it in 3 minutes. And then you have to repeat this exercise and summarize the passage in 2 minutes now. Doing this exercise will help you eliminate those extra words that you use while speaking in English. A lot of people face this issue that they use lengthy sentences in order to explain a very simple point. So the crispness is actually not there. In order to make your message crisp, 432 really helps you, and the fact that you will be summarizing it will also help you add more words to your vocabulary and understand grammar as well. The second exercise is also pretty interesting. It's called chorus reading. So chorus reading basically means that you have to repeat after someone the way they are speaking. Generally chorus reading is done in pairs, but in this case I'm going to give you an example. So for example, in this video you pick up any one section, you start off and you start writing whatever I'm saying, although I speak very fast, but try writing it down by going back and forth. Once you are done with, let's say, 4 or 5 lines, your job is to repeat it in the same way as I did. So for example, when you read a text, you read it in the way you generally do, right? The voice modulation or the pauses are generally how you lay them there. But now you have to copy the way I am doing it, or let's say your role model does. Like if you watch a news anchor, the way they lay the pauses, or a commentator does, you have to repeat the sentences in a way that your pauses are exactly where their pauses are. This will eventually help you understand voice modulation very well, and it helps you improve your fluency also. So these are the two exercises that I wanted to share, along with how to think in English, how to improve your vocabulary, and how to improve your grammar. I hope these tips help you. If they do, just let me know in the comments. I would love to make more videos on this topic. Thanks a lot.